Get out now, my son's voice cracked through the phone sharp and panicked. At 35 I Gloria thought my family was my anchor, but his words hit like a gut punch. What's wrong? Sweetheart, hands shook gripping the phone. Theory planning something bad, leave. His whisper burned, pushing me to move, feet stumbling through the crowd's laughter. If you're watching, share where you're from in the comments and hit that like button. Subscribe to hear how my son's call ripped open me family's hidden betrayal. Slid the phone away, breath catching as I weaved through facetious. Trusted everything okay? Me mother asked, fingers brushing my wrist too tightly. Just a work call, I lead, forcing a grin while my pulse roared. Her eyes darted, lips twitching like unspoken regret. Me brother's wife's glance felt loaded, quick, calculated, like I was the target. Sweetheart, tell me what you hearty hissed into the phone, stepping aside. A dad and uncle talking last night. They want to make you look unstable for custody. Grandma's money to me. Stomach twisted. You're safe, ye pretending sick. The line went dead, fingers trembling as I clutched keys. Flash to the divorce 2 years back. Me ex slammed the door. You're paranoid, snapped. Always worry. I stood alone, papers in hand, doubting myself for a moment. That doubt lingered. No, but my son's warning shoved at acid. I need anything my brother's wife asked. Smile too sweet, eyes per bingy. Shook my head, checking messages. Lie against lingered. Her whisper to my mother echoing secrets. Me mother's silence hurt. Mosty reached my car, hands fumbling the lock, breath hitching, driving. OFFI dialed my son. What else? Uncle's wife pushing it said trigger you at the party. Knuckles whitened on the wheel. Months of probes flooded back, or questions about my moods. Me mother's distance family used to mean safety, but now it screamed troppy. Texted my best friend needs safety now. Reply my house as I drovicious tightened who was in deep. Me son's call cracked the truth. He had to protect us. I sank onto my friend's couch, keys clattering to the floor. Gloria talk, she urged, locking the door. My son called at the party, said run, they're plotting to take him and mom's money. Her jaw dropped. Who's they? Me ex brother's wife, maybe. Mommy rubbed my eyes, exhaustion hit. I'm scared. I'm not strong enough for Thish, squeezed her shoulder. You are start at the beginning. Flash to 2 months. Agami mother sat at my kitchen tabletia untuchitiwari distant, she said, voice soft but probingy. Your brother's wife mentioned missed appointments. Gripped my mug. Miss ADM juggling teaching and parenting. Sh looked down. They think you need help. Felt my voice cracked her control. She stood hesitant. Just consider it. Had hesitation now. Screamed complicit to me. Son overheard them. I told my friend, voice shaking. They want to record me snapping. Prove I'm unfit. That's sick. What else? Strange emails, photos of my house. Found a camera behind my bookshelf. Froze camera. You ripped it out last week. Call my cousins. A pie. She dialed. He need you friends families. Framing her camera's lispause. Now the investigator arrived. Boots thudding. Show me the camera. I handed over the tiny device. Found it after an email. My living room. Midnight. Turned it over. Cloud linked all trace. What's their goal? I asked. Custody for your son. Your mom's trust fund. Me friend nodded. Her brother's wife psychologist, right? Bet she's the brains. I clenched my fists. Been pushing therapy, saying I'm stressed. Flash to 3 weeks back. Natalie, me brother's wife, cornered me at a family dinner. Teachings intense, she said, eyes sharp. Ever feel it's too much? I pushed back. He managed. She tilted her head. Your son mentioned nightmaresh fine. I snap edge smiled thin. Ladenials common. Her words clinical but cutting lingered. Now I saw her motive in it. Concern but ambition or failing practice. Hidden debts needed my mother's money to survive. Any proof beyond his call? The investigator asked. I nodded. Mails. One had my house's photono sender. He plugged in his laptop. Give me access. I forwarded the email. Lips masked, but I'll crack. ITMY phone buzzed. My mother. Honey, where are you? Safe. Did you know? Silence. Sethi said you're struggling or set up. She whispered. Eddie didn't know the camera. My heart sank. Sh was in but wavering. What's your ex's deal? Me friend asked. Money troublisking too much about my life lately. Me son texted. Dad's Maddie left asking where you were. Reply work emergency. I said smart kid. The investigator noted. He's my Rocky, said, voice breaking. A quiet moment hit. I stared at the floor, doubting my strength. Called. I outsmart them. Me friend's hand on mine pulled me back. UVE got this. Let's plant. The investigator said trace footage. Emails. Confront your mom first. She's the weak link. He nodded but fear nod. Natalie's psychology skills made her dangerous. Every word calculated. My mother's trust in her and me was her leverage, but her hesitation at dinner gave me hope. Mom's not cruel, I said. Maybe manipulated. He replegied her alone. I called my mother. Meet me park bench. No one else. I'm sorish, said voice crack. Ingy believe them. Prove it. Cummy. As I hung up, my friend said careful. Natalie smart. She'll cover tracks. He nodded, staring at the camera in my hand. Me son's warning. My mother's waver. Me own doubt they fueled. May wasn't just a mom fighting for her kidi was dismantling their lies one step at a time. The investigator's laptop screen glowed in the dim room. Footage rolling. Your brother's wife entering your house, said, pointing gloves on, snapping photos of documents. He leaned in, breath shallow. That's her. When 3 weeks ago leads to her office. My friend paced. Motivier practice is failing. Debts piling from bad investments. Using psychology to hide. Thinks your mother's trust saves her. Flash to 4 weeks back. Natalie cornered me at coffee. Your mood swing, she said. Eyes clinical therapy. I pushed my cup away. I'm fine. She leaned. Denials her tool, she muttered as if noting for a file. That tool now revealed her desperation, not just control but survival. Twisting family for financial escape. Emails to the investigator. Adej coached your mom phrases to trigger you. I dialed Valerie. Meet me. We need to talk. Honey, I am worried, she said, voice trembling. She arrived at the park bench. Hands Classpedia knew about the camera. I asked. She flinched. No, but They said you needed intervention. Shout fake reports. Fake yes, I signed the trust changes thinking it protected you. Or eyes welled. I was wrong, blinded by fear for you. A quiet moment settled. He stared at the ground. Weakness Fladingy trusted you most. Mom, how could you? She touched my hand. He thought I was helping. No, I see they used my love against Usher. Arc shifted from manipulated pawn to regretful ally. Forwarding emails used the stop them more. Trace the investigator said ladder your ex's phone near your house during a break-in. I confronted Lucas at a cafe. Admitted, I said, voice steady despite my shaking hand shifted. It was Natalie's idea. I am drowning in rent. She said custody flips child support and Alex better with May stood your done. He grabbed the table edge. Wait, but I wa Katie's plea echoing flash to last weekend. Lucas at drop off. Alex mentioned your stress, said need help. Alex tugged my hand. Dad stopped. That tug now strengthened me, but the memory brought a surge of doubt. Had I missed signs in my own exhaustion? Valerie called. Natalie's arguing with Travis, blaming Mesty away. I sighed. I'm helping you, she insisted, voice firmer. Statement ready for your lawyer. The investigator nodded. Deleted notes recovered. Her faking symptoms. He paused, reflecting in silence. Natalie's motive depended not greed alone but fear of losing her facade, using mind games to mask failure. Confront Travis, my friend urged with proof. At the bench approached, shoulders slumped. What do you want? Admit the ploth rubbed his face. Natalie's pushing. Detcher practice collapsing. I went along. Regret now. He nodded to Lady. I left his weakness mirroring mine, but mine turned to resolve. Attention coiled as texts came. Natalie lies won't stick. Ignore. Valerie's arc grew. She visited hugging tighty. See my mistake fighting with Yuki at reflection hit as I watched Alex sleep. Ladder thriller of chases faded into dramas. Ache family's core rotten but my son's breath steady grounding. Majulia's voice cut through the phone. Evidence solid footage. Email statements. He gripped the receiver. Doubt creeping. What if they twist it? I'm just one persona. Re not, she said. Valerie's statement helps. A quiet pause. Hiti sat on the floor back against the wall breathing slow. Thriller rush faded into dramas. Wait me weakness exposed but pushing me to prepare. Flash to a month ago. Valerie at my door. Papers in hand. Sign these for protection, she said. Eyes avoiding minute protection from what your stress. I took them. This cuts me. Ouch. Hesitated. Natalie said temporary. That hesitation now marked her arc's turn from trusting Natalie to questioning. Forwarding proofs to aid me. Meet Valerie first. Julia advised at her full account at the bench. Valerie approached, hands trembling. He coached phrases to trigger. Yosha admitted. Natalie said it was intervention. We believe her. Fury thought I'd lose you to break down. Her voice broke, but seeing the camera I was wrong. She hugged. Meill testify. Her arc deep in regret to resolve. Love twisted but realigning. Investigator added. Natalie's notes recovered. Faking symptoms for her failing practice debts driving her to desperation. Natalie's motive layered not power alone but survival. Panicking psych skills to manipulate familias. Her life unraveled. Confront Lucas. Julia said at the cafe. Lucas sat fidgeting. Admit the plot, I said, voice steady. He rubbed his neck. Natalie pushed. I needed money for rental. X thought better for him. I leaned. You broke. Ushe looked away. Regret it. No, but his weakness echoed. Natalie's debt blinding him. Quiet reflection struck as I walked away, sitting alone on a curb. Thriller's chase slowed to drama's core. Me doubt mirrored their flaws but my son's face and mind steadied. Matravi's next. Investigator urged with footage he met at the bench. Slumped. Natalie dragged me in here. Debts my firm tanking. Regretize. I knew it was wrong but his complicity lingered. Secondary to Natalie's drive. Julia compiled hearing soon. Valerie's testimony key. Valerie called ready to stand with you. Her arc solidified. Misguided mother to fierce ally. Preparation built my weakness turning to quiet strength. Hearing loomed. Evidence bundled in Julia's brief. Theory desperate, she said, pushing emergency custody. I sat in her office, fingers twisting a tissue hat. If the judge believes themium exhausted. Weakness washed over me. Tears threatening. Julia touched my arm. Your strength is in the truth. Valerie's testimony seals it. Flash to 2 weeks ago. Valerie at my safe. Spot. Eyes red. I confronted Natalie. Said she denied but her voice shook. What she say? That deaths drove her practice failing. Needed my trust to rebuild life. Valerie's arc peaked from regret to confrontation. Her love turning protective. Ethic shake now showed. Natalie's crack motive layered in panic and self-preservation. Courtroom air thickened as we entered. Judge banged gavel. Evidence. Lucas's lawyer respondent erratic. Julia rose. Conspiracy footage. A video played. Natalie planting camera. Lucas shifted. Sweat beating. Irrelevant. His lawyer snapped. Motive central. Judge ruled. Valerie testified first. I was coached to provoke her. Signed fakes thinking help. Cross worried. Yes but manipulated. Natalie's debts blinded. Meher voice steady. Arc complete. Misguided to truth teller. Quiet moment hit as she stepped down. He squeezed her hand. Our eyes meeting in shared pain. Natalie on stand. Concern on. La Julia explained. Camera welfare check with gloves. Natalie faltered. I panicked. Practice collapsing. Debts mount. Tingy thought control fixed. Ither admission cracked. The facade motive raw fear of ruin twisting family to survive. Thriller tension built in her tremble. Drama in her broken gaze. Lucas cracked next their idea. He pointed at Natalie. Debt pushed me. Judge order but damage landed. Alex's counselor. Remote child over hard. Brave but hurt. I reflected silently. Heart aching for him. The drama's courageous innocence amid betrayal. Judge recessed outside. Natalie approached. Had misunderstood. No, I said, voice firm. You destroyed trust. She walked away. Shoulders slumped back. And judge ruled. Petition denied. Orders issued. Bang. Lucas left head down. Natalie glared but silent. Quiet reflection struck in the hallway. I leaned against the wall breathing deep. Thrillers Climax faded to drama's resolve weakness turned strength Valerie by my side did it she whisper at her arc affirming love's redemption courtroom doors closed judge's ruling echoing denied orders Aswady stood legs weak as Lucas left head down. Natalie glaring silent Valerie hugged me tight we did each whisper at her arc complete from manipulated to steadfast ally her love realigned through truth but weakness hit I leaned on the wall breath shallow what no Julia patted my shoulder rebuild. Outside no crowds just quiet air thrillers end fading to drama's raw Acme phone buzzed Alexmum one yes sweetheart safe we are his voice steadied me but doubt lingered had I protected him enough Valerie drove me home I confronted them last night said Natalie broke admitted debts drove hurt wisting us to save herself Natalie's motive deepened panic from failure not malice alone but self-preservation warping her psych skills into weapons Lucas texted regret everything ignoratrivis called Natalie's Crumblinjari doing I setters to hung up his complicit role exposed Valerie stayed helping pack remnants old photos her hands pausing on one of I failed you first she said softly but I'll make it right quiet moment settled I nodded a regret. Turning to quiet action 3 months on new house in North Park simple secure Alex's room had his drawings who walked mornings his hand in mine feels good said I quit teaching for mediation workasing pain to help others income steady no trust need adjust. Lucas lost visitation supervised only court ordered therapetrying he messaged once deleted Alex chose space he's sorry but I like our life Valerie downsized cutting ties to Travis Natalie visited limited earning trust with calls gifts EC. My blindness she said at lunch fair made me weak her arc fuller from fear driven pawn to reflective supporter love tested and renewed Natalie's practice shut deaths overwhelm medlicines probed her complexity surfaced in a letter fear ruined me sorry burned. Travis's firm collapsed moved away regret unfixing damage secondary shadows their weaknesses mirrored mine but I cut them clean quiet evenings I reflected on Alex's schizesis under stars drama's depth outweighed thrillers rush betrayal's cost. In lost bonds but gain in self-reliance nights staring at ceiling see unpacked at the callspanic footage as shock rulings relief weakness and doubt but growth and boundaries ure strong Alex said hugging that bond my core Valerie's visits brought depthy. Doubted myself too she shared Natalie's word sprayed on my fear her arc inspired regret to renewal Natalie's motive haunted desperation twisting expertise into harm caution therapy helped betrayal rebuilds you counselor Sadie saw a doubt turned. Vigilance weakness to wisdom Alex grew perceptive his art healing us this betrayal taught me family bonds can break under fear's weight trust instincts over smiles build boundaries let go toxic ties for peace Natalie's panic showed villains are human driven by hidden collapses but that doesn't excuse Valerie's journey reminded love can redeem if earned listen warned spot probes early seek allies fast value self-reliance forgiveness optional for listener shave family secrets cracked your trust ho rebuilt. Share below thank you for listening like subscribe comment your stories let's connect.